Hello all, welcome to Ansarkari. I am your friend Vikas Bhardwaj. Today we are taking up a very important topic, that is United Nations Environment Program. Before going into details, we will try to understand कि ये है क्या. So we have to understand that it is a program, United Nations Environment Program. That means it is not legally binding and it is also not having any kind of statutory powers. That means this program is advisory in nature. It cooperates and coordinates with different bodies, whether they are non-governmental bodies, whether they are civil society, different governments, international organizations, individuals, and so on. That means it is a multitasking and also multi-dimensional organization. But why it is so important? Was it there since the beginning of the United Nations, or it came into picture little later? In today's time, when we say environment is a very crucial and a very important link between humanity and its existence. That is why UNEP and its idea came into question in 1968. That was the time period of Cold War, and the world was divided into two groups. You know it very well. One was led by America and its allied powers, and other was led by USSR, which was promoting socialist ideas. So both the bodies or both the groups were understanding the importance of environment, because they both were consisting some countries which were very powerful, or you can say which were having great resource management. And in order to understand and cooperate in terms of environment, they both were fighting with each other. In this context, in 1968 onwards, as I said, Sweden will be coming into picture, and it will be promoting this idea that there must be something on the lines of WHO, which is for health, FAO, which is for agriculture, UNICEF, which is promoting cultural values and education. Why not something on environment? But there was a deadlock on the fact that where it should be located, what should be its position, because its mandate was clear कि क्या करेगा. So coherent implementation of environmental dimensions. Coherent, that means sustainable development. There is an agenda since 2015 which is linked with SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 indicators in that regard. So we have to keep that in mind. Even another term that I can introduce you to here is carrying capacity. That means what is the ability of certain environment or certain ecologically fragile unit by which it can carry on the burden of human activities or anthropogenic activities without crushing itself, or you can say ability to sustain itself on its own again, or you can say capacity to develop in itself in a way so that it is usable or it is sustainable for the future. So on all these ideas, UNEP's idea came into being after 1968, and by 1972 it was decided that there must be a body, and it was the result of UN Conference on Human Environment. जैसा मैंने अभी बोला, because intervention of human activities is the key which is interfering with the climate system. You can watch our video on United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change to have a different view on environment and its functioning. So UNFCCC, United Nations Conference on Human Environment, will be leading to formation of United Nations Environment Program. So main function is environmental governance. That is what all countries will decide together. यानी एक ऐसा शासकीय एक मुद्दा या एक ऐसा मॉडल बनाया जाए जिससे पूरे पर्यावरण को संभाला जा सके. That is how the whole idea was. So when it was decided that UNEP is coming into picture, then it was decided that its headquarters must be at Nairobi. That means in Kenya. because none of the countries were ready to understand and to appreciate the fact that where should be its headquarters. On one hand, the socialist bloc wanted their countries, allied countries wanted their countries. But in this context, three main contenders were India and Brazil. Apart from that, third world countries will be represented by Africa. That is why it was chosen that for humanity, for betterment, for future good initiatives, why don't we choose a place which is much more sync with the future initiatives. That is how Africa, the most vulnerable, having most poverty stricken conditions, and also definitely having green zone in a large number. That is why Nairobi was chosen as the headquarters of United Nations Environment Program. लेकिन इसमें आता क्या है? Atmosphere, climate change, disaster conflict, ecosystem management, whether it is marine or terrestrial ecosystems, harmful substances, environmental governance as I already said, and green economic development. ये बड़े बड़े words हैं. These are big words. There is a term called ecological footprint. That means how much a country is consuming or how much it is emitting greenhouse gases, thereby impacting the environment. जितना कम होगा, जितना low footprint होगा, the country will be that much sustainable. For example, India's footprint is very low. So the least developed countries, you can say they have less than 2 global hectare per capita. You know, 2 global hectare per capita. Such is the low level. So what this ecological footprint is defining? It is defining world's global ecological capacity per person. I am repeating, वर्ल्ड्स ग्लोबल इकोलॉजिकल कैपेसिटी पर पर्सन, प्रति व्यक्ति कितना है इकोलॉजिकल कैपेसिटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड. सो दिस इज रिलेटेड विद इकोसिस्टम मैनेजमेंट. सिमिलरली अगर हम एक और कॉन्सेप्ट लें, फॉर एग्जांपल हैप्पी प्लैनेट इंडेक्स. सो दिस आइडिया इज लिंक्ड विद अगेन प्रमोटिंग इन्वायरमेंटल गवर्नेंस. इफ वी टेक दिस आइडिया फर्दर, देन banning the use of single-use plastic. That is a very important theme. In that context, India have been at the forefront, and the government of India have decided that in the near future there will be complete ban on single-use plastic. India के context में Himachal Pradesh is the first state which banned plastic and also polythene usage. This is part of not only environmental governance but also green economic development. Because in green economic development there will be concept of buildings, because if we see, then the 1/3 of the total emission or total global greenhouse gases emission, it is linked with buildings. Urbanization is increasing. That is why India have come up with something called GRIHA, GRIHA, that is Green Rating for Integrated Habitat Assessment. Green rating for habitat assessment. If you come to Delhi or if you are from Delhi, then there is something called India Habitat Center. You can Google it. India Habitat Center. So it is said to be one of the first green buildings. Kyun? Because it can sustain itself more than 40%. Reusable. Less usage of water. Less usage of electricity. More clean. Whenever it rains, automatically buildings get clean. I have visited that place number of times, and you find those red brick structures mesmerizing. So that is the aspect of green rating for integrated habitat assessment. पर हम उसको integrated क्यों बोलते हैं? Because उसमें प्री कंस्ट्रक्शन फेज भी आएगा, कंस्ट्रक्शन फेज भी आएगा, and then you have operationalization and maintenance phase will also be there. So India is taking leadership in that context. So UNEP and India is having a great relationship. In terms of implementing, as I told you, Global Environment Facility, GEF, it is an important element for the same because it is part of the governance system. So whether it is finance, whether it is technology transfer, it is going to work. Montreal Protocol, very important and also in news these days also because of ozone gas, or you can say ozone layer is healing. That is why this protocol is there. So it's a multilateral fund. That means funding will be done by different countries. That means more or less we can say developed countries and the economies in transition. Similarly, International Cyanide Management Code 2002. So Montreal Protocol is at the center because it is first beginning. Then you can say GEF, that is the Global Environment Facility, and then International Cyanide Management Code. When we talk about UNEP, then it is going to help in creation of UNFCCC. As I already said, we have discussed certain aspects on the video on UNFCCC. So it is in this context. It joined along with Meteorological Organization in 1988, and that's how UNFCCC came into being. That is Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, plus UNEP, it is linked. That is how, as I was talking about, that it is having a multi-dimensional role and process. It is a beautiful body which is working for the future. It is not having vested interest, but as always, the developed countries, they have their own restrained behavior for their own interest at times. That means United Nations Environment Assembly, which is the UNEP's governing body, it plays very important role. You can say it is the world's highest decision making body in the environment. That means what we can say, that organization which came into being on 5th June 1972 by Stockholm Conference, or you can say by United Nations Human Conference, with its first director as Maurice Strong. It has been running very smart. It has great passion and great dedication for promoting world's environmental culture. Because when we say new concepts, like for example green building, as we have already discussed, or something like global green new deal, these new concepts, they were brought by UNEP body only. They comes into picture and they will be only feasible when everybody is coming into collective support and mode. So UNEP is going strong. India is having a very important role and leadership in this. We have discussed basic and key ideas about UNEP and its governing body, and our idea is to understand its functioning in a basic manner. That is what, beginning with the idea that why UNEP is required, what is its mandate and its leadership, what is its governance structure, कैसे ये function करती है, what things can come under it, whether it is plastic, whether it is convention on migratory birds, of which India has just hosted a conference also. India hosted a conference on, that is Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals, that is called COP-CMS, COP on CMS. India has already hosted it. So the idea, the key ideas with respect to the human intervention in environment, they are reflected by UNEP. It is a very important stakeholder. So if even we talk about other kind of interventions, say for example plastic waste into seas or oceans, we are putting 8 million metric ton per year. If we go by simple logic, then one truck per minute we are putting into oceans. That is the amount of damage we are doing. Or for that matter, if we talk about the role of carbon and also other greenhouse gases, then also UNEP's role become very important. So it is in this context we can say that UNEP is playing very important role. Questions can come up for relationship between Indian government plus UNEP. For example, Cochin was the first airport in the world. Cochin airport was the first airport which was completely solar, and it was awarded United Nations Environmental Award. Similarly, India's Prime Minister Honorable Narendra Modi ji was also awarded the Champions of Environment, or you can say champions of earth award. So these are the examples by which we can say that environment is playing a very important role. Our goal is to sensitize and give you idea so that you can read further and you can come back with more crucial and also logical ideas. You are more than welcome for all kind of doubts, comments and also feedback. So do like, share and subscribe our channel and let's get success, because there is no shortcut to success. Together we can. Thank you very much.